Hello guys, Sujaro speaking. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, episode number 201. And today we read you we'll go and book about George Washington. So let's read it now. Shall we? So we got we'll go and book about George Washington by Lori H. Horan, illustrated by Vimia Gorfaldi. How to pronounce his last name? Sorry. Anyway. This editor's what to thank Mary V. Thompson, researcher and historian, to Fred W. Smith, National Library for the study of George Washington, for the assistance with the preparation of this book. Copyright 2016, all rights reserved. Anyway, that's George Washington's this pen, things like that. Kind of reminds me of Mary Goose for the Body series, but that's just me, of course. Anywho, George Washington, the very first president of the United States. Growing up, George never dreamed he would be president. Okay. America wasn't even a country yet, which makes sense in my head, which is now a country now. Anyway, America was just 13 pieces of land, okay, called colonies, which I talked about last episode. Anyway, that belonged to the country of England. Wow, in the United Kingdom sense. But anyway, even though it makes sense in a way from GGW sense, from ZGW, from my friend Bob Jans, who's watches now. This is for you, buddy. Next page. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. George lived in the county of Virginia on his family's farm. Okay. He was tall, quiet boy. He didn't mind studying or doing chores. Makes sense in a way. But whenever he could, George slipped outdoors. Okay. He loved to fish in the river, okay? Or hunt in the woods and ride horseback over the rolling green hills. Well, this makes a lot of sense now, even though it's a great idea. The head sense, you know. Kind of was the whole thing, I guess. Next page. Anyway, when George turned 20, okay? He joined the army. England needed soldiers. Another country, France, was trying to take over some land near the colonies, okay? George was a good soldier, okay? Brave and smart. He was lucky as well. And in one battle, 4 bullets whistled through his cloak, okay? But George was not hurt, okay? That's good enough, okay? Working together, England and its colonies, and the colonies beat France. That's a good idea to make it. But anyway, fought war with these two countries, but that's just me, of course. And no, I'm not pulling middle fingers, but that's a good thing I did it. But that's just me. Next page. Anyway, I pulled the number 2. But anyway, George went back home. He married a kind woman named Martha Cudis. Anyway, George was happy. He had his home farm now, Mount Vernon, okay? Where he could fish and hunt, ride, but he didn't get to stay home for long, okay? Trouble was brewing. The colonies didn't like the way England was treating them. Wow. They wanted to break off and form their own country. Wow. Well, the King of England said no. Exactly. If the colonies wanted freedom, they want to have to fight for it. Yup, exactly, George Washington. You have to soften. So yeah, it makes more sense in a way. So there you go, from the farmers to being the First Lady President of the United States. Next page. Anyway. People remember how well George had fought against France. They asked him to lead a new war. This time against England. Wow. George agreed to become America's top general. He took charge of the entire army, okay? The war lasted 8 years, okay? George's men didn't have enough food, guns, or boots, okay? At the first, they lost more battles than they won. George kept going. He didn't just keep giving his men's orders. Wow, okay. He fought beside them, which is good enough. His courage made them want to fight harder. Okay? So that makes a whole lot of sense now, even though it's President of the United States becoming a battle between George and the other men, becoming the waves and things like that. So that's good enough. But battles, I think this is the 21st century back. Now, this came out in the 18th century, so there you go. Next page. Anyway, finally, after a big battle in Yorktown, Virginia, England's general sent a message to George. We surrender. Well, okay. The war was over. America was free. No longer would the colonists be ruled by the Kingdom of Pharaoh country. Okay, makes sense anyway, even though it was the year of 1776. Our country, makes sense in any way, so there you go. United States of America, and that makes any sense. Next page. Anyway, the 13 colonies became the first states. Good enough. These states formed a brand new country, the United States of America. Anyway, someone had to lead the country, someone brave and smart. Anyway, someone who knew how to take charge. Okay? An election was held to chosen the first president. George won every vote. Exactly. At least in 1770 something. I'm not sure he won as president, so there you go on that. Next page. Anyway, George got a right to work, okay? He helped the states join together peacefully, okay? He set up the new government with new laws and new American money, okay? And even chose the spot where the White House was to be built, okay? After 8 years, George looked around. He saw that America was growing into a fine, strong nation. It was time. George decided to let someone else be president. Exactly, George Washington. And after 46 presidents of the United States, there is a United States of America. At least do something about it, of George Washington. That's me, of course. Next page. Anyway, George went back to Mount Vernon with Martha. It was good to be home, exactly. He took care of his farm. He welcomed visitors, lots of visitors. Everyone wanted to meet the most famous man in America. George didn't mind, but wherever he could, George slipped outdoors. Yup. At least do something, George and Martha Washington. And at times like this, yes, they are great United States citizens. That's me, of course. Next page. Anyway, the fish in the river, hunt in the woods, and ride horsebacks over the rolling green hills. Yeah, Mr. President, George Washington, at least do something about it. So there you go. Yeah, there's 3 more pages left. Remembering George. We are our first president in the many ways. His picture's on our $1 bill, which I have so many times, And our core, yes. Here has been on many stamps, Our capital where the president lives today. Makes sense in any way. It's named for him, Washington, D.C., which I've been to before, yeah. In 2013. And that's where the Washington Monument stands. His face was carved, in the monument called Mount Rushmore, alongside other favorite presidents. I have to agree with these presidents right here. So there you go with that. It was great to see the president of the United States, passed away in 1799. I felt sad and worried, because nowadays it's 2022, and And there you go. It's just a great idea to come out that way. So there you go or not. And, it's history days, historic facts, that's me, of course. So there you go or not. Here comes the last page of the book, stating that, and every year on this third Monday in February, we celebrate his birthday. Happy birthday, George. And that was the end of the book, so there you go or not. And it was President's Day, it was great to celebrate President's Day and all President's Day. So that was my little golden book about George Washington. What do I think about this book? I think it was amazing. So far, this book was an accessible book to read. And that was the Bedtime Stories episode number 201. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be Bedtime Stories episode number 202, which will be about another Alice in Wonderland book. Until next time, Sue Joseph, my piece of baby. We'll get more Bedtime Stories episodes to guys pursue. Till then, out. See ya.